On today's show, I am joined by the People's University TUT spokesperson, Ms. Phaphama Tshisikhawe. Let's do this. Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us right here on TED. My name is Bongseni, and I'm your host. In case you just joined us for the first time, make sure that you binge watch all the episodes you might have missed on our YouTube channel, DBE TV. This is a show where we get to dive in deeper conversations in a quest to answer the big question, why education? And today's show is no different. We are joined by the People's University TUT spokesperson, Phaphama Tshisikhawe, who's going to be telling us more about her journey in education, what got her to where she is today. Phaphama, welcome to TED.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's
an
been
honor.
a long-awaited conversation with you.
I know, but I'm glad I'm finally here, and we're gonna, get going with that conversation on education. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's start. Where does it all begin with you? How was your upbringing? Do you feel like since you were a young girl, you knew that you wanted to be in an education space and environment?
Yeah, I grew up in Shawela. My roots are in Venda and Shawela as well.
Yes.
In a big family. I've got 9 siblings.
Yo.
Yeah. So it's growing up was not very easy. But my parents were blessed with kids that loved education from a very young age.
Sure.
We're very much involved. At school, doing very well, and not just well. Straight A students,
Sure.
Learners at that time, obviously. And I think that on its own was a base to where we are right now. And our parents supported us so much, though they didn't have much,
Sure.
but they encouraged us to do well in school. And that's what we did. And I think that is the greatest inspiration for me, having parents who were so supportive. Not money-wise,
Yeah.
but, with
Or
love,
just
with
present.
support,
Yeah.
and being present, which is very important, especially now in the days that we are living. Yeah.
Would you say that there were some challenges in the environment that you were growing up in? And if there were challenges, what were some of your challenges? Because we all live in a society where there's pressures left, right, and center, apart from what you're getting at home.
Mm-hmm. I think, there's societal pressures a lot.
Yeah.
There's peer pressure.
Yeah.
Growing up in Soweto, obviously there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's teenage pregnancy,
Yeah.
And like I said earlier on, I'm happy and blessed that I had the parents, that really protected us.
Sure.
From that, So those are some of the challenges that, I experienced growing up, other than the family challenges like financial challenges.
Yeah.
We grew up in a very disadvantaged family, but we did all we can, to survive. And I'm glad it's a story of the past now.
Of course.
Yeah.
Looking at back then and now where you are now, how would you define your educational journey and from your academic life to what education really means to you?
I must emphasize, education is everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. It gives you a step ahead, especially now in the lives that we're living, the corporate world that we're in now.
Yes.
Things are always evolving.
Yes.
So it's always important for one to be equipped with education, to have skills, relevant skills that are needed.
Yes.
And education is another way, a bigger way of doing it, actually.
Sure.
Learning in class, equipping yourself with knowledge, knowing how to, and being qualified at that and having the papers to prove that actually I'm qualified to do the job. So that on its own gives you a step ahead amongst your peers. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Talking about steps, you had your first step when you started working with the institution TUT in 2008 as a journalism intern.
Yeah.
And you've been with the institution for over 13 years now.
Yeah, absolutely.
How has that been, and how do you stay in one environment for so many years?
Oh my God. I get that question a lot.
Sure.
It's been a roller coaster of the good, and also, you experience the bad as well.
Yeah.
But that propels you to greater heights. It makes you want to work even more.
Sure.
I started out as an intern, and I worked my way up. No joke. you know. First one to get in, last one to get out.
Sure.
You know, that type of life. I never take anything for granted.
Yeah.
Any opportunity given to me, I would grab it with both hands and do the best that I can. And I think that on its own led me to where I am today.
I mean, you have landed yourself the biggest role that I can imagine right now, being in the VC's office as the spokesperson for the institution. What does that take and what does it mean to you?
It's a lot of responsibility.
Sure.
You're the face and the voice of that institution.
Yes.
I mean, that is the biggest contact university in
Do you feel like you need
Africa.
to watch what you do and what you say?
It's the biggest contact university in Africa, and you're given that responsibility to speak on behalf of the university.
Sure.
That on its own is a privilege, is a blessing, you know, and I can't mess that up. I can't mess up that opportunity. And, you know, I work with a beautiful, beautiful, hardworking team, you know. And by that, I'm not talking about corporate communication. I'm talking about academia, support staff, because we are all a team, you know, to make this university beautiful. And it's a great responsibility. And now working with the new VC of the Tshwane University of Tech, Professor Tinyuka Maluleka, I mean, it's such a blessing. There's a lot to learn from the professor. And I think in the next coming few weeks and months and years, there'll be a whole lot coming from the Tshwane University of Technology. And people must just stay glued to
Phaphama,
that.
I've always known you as a very persistent person.
Yeah.
You're a PhD candidate.
Yes.
Institution spokesperson, and do all other things in your personal capacity and life. How do you balance it?
Time management is very important. You know how it can be just a cliche, you know, that time, but really time management is very important. In my role, I mean, being a PhD candidate, when you knock off from work, you hit the books, you know. There's certain things that I can't do. I mean, as a young person, I should be out there, going out and all of that. But I know I need to do this now.
Sure.
So
and
that,
it's not that you can't do, you choose not to.
No, I choose not
you
to.
Want to prioritize
at this present moment. You know, it's important for us to treat our careers, our study life as a project.
Sure.
The same way you would lead a project. You know, you need to plan. You need to manage your time properly. You need to give your all to assignments, to reading, you know, to interacting with your supervisors as well, and doing the write-up, doing interviews and learning from others. You give your all.
Sure.
So I treat my career and my studies as a project.
Sure.
That I need to complete. It's something that I've started, and I need to complete that. And in order for me to complete that, I need to take our, you know, separate other things, put them on the side, you know, achieve this, and the fun will have it later.
And then someone might be watching and say, that's a boring life. You know, I know
not
it's your goals.
Not
but
necessarily.
what do you do outside of that for fun, to distract yourself or just to find sanity? Like, what are some of the activities that you do or hobbies that you do?
I'm very big on hiking.
All right.
Yeah, the outdoor life. I do cycling as well.
Okay.
Very important. It's good for the mind as well. You know, total body workout. We live in a very fast-paced world. I mean, our careers are fast-paced as well. So it's also important to balance that with the mind. Mental health, very important.
Would you say that COVID-19 pandemic, you know, had an effect and inspiration for you to do hiking? Because we started seeing a lot of people hiking during that time.
No, I've always been a tree hugger. I mean, you know, the mountains, growing up in Venda as well, you know, we are up there in the mountains, so it's embedded in me.
Okay,
you know, so hiking did not start during COVID. Thank you.
Noted, with great thanks.
Okay.
Moving from what you do in your personal life and the impact that you're making in the institution, where to from now? What would you like people to see from the institution as the spokesperson? What image would you like people to see about the institution that you're currently working at?
I mean, it's important for people to know right now. I mean, like I said earlier on, this is the biggest contact university in Africa.
Sure.
We are leading. And by that I mean number one in engineering and the built environment. We are leading in ICT,
Sure.
leading in Africa. And it's important to actually highlight that. There's so many interesting developments coming out from the Tshwane University of Technology. I can name them, from sports, academia, groundbreaking research, taking place at the institution. And it's important that people acknowledge TUT as that. We are a university that makes knowledge work.
Yes.
And graduates from the Tshwane University of Technology, they do not only go out there and grab these opportunities in terms of work, they actually create work.
Yes.
We're talking entrepreneurship and all of that, Very important. So there's great things. Watch out for the Tshwane University of Technology leading the #1 UOT in Africa. So there's great things coming out from that. So you need to stay glued to the university, but also come and enroll at the Tshwane University of Technology. Come and there's great student life, sports activities, because you need to balance that. You need to balance the academia with the extracurricular activities. So, and that, we give you that full package as well. And, student development as well, not just academia. There's so many things. Culture, activities, debates, sports, as I mentioned earlier on. There's just a whole lot happening at that institution.
I can truly attest to that, because I'm an
Yeah.
alumni of the institution. And
course.
I think the institution really lives to its motto: we empower people. There's great empowerment. But with that empowerment, there's also challenges that we have, socioeconomic factors that would be a stumbling block for one to even get to register at an institution. What some of the programs do you guys have as an institution to help those who cannot afford?
Obviously, we have NSFAS. That is like the biggest fund, bursary fund. And also, I need to highlight this. Those who did not know, with NSFAS, let's say you get that funding.
Yes.
If you pass all your subjects for the first year, it's now seen as a bursary. It's a bursary, and people didn't know that. They think now you have to pay back. But if you excel and you pass and you complete your studies on record time, you don't have to pay it back.
Sure, okay.
So it becomes a bursary, and that's what the government has done. But as TUT, we are always out there in the rural areas, in the villages, in schools, and educating the learners, prospective students, that is, about these funds that are there. The university itself has the bursary and scholarship fund, TUT bursary and scholarship funds. Okay. But also this also caters and supports the missing middle. Those who do not qualify for NSFAS because maybe a parent or two are working, but you'd find that they're working but cannot afford, So that's where the TUT bursary and scholarship fund comes in. So we are always out there, and also we're always partnering with the industry. So there's funds also coming, from industry that would also cater for students who cannot afford.
That's great.
So there is that support.
That's great.
And we always encourage prospective students to always be alert. Don't just be on your phone.
Yes.
For social media. Search these things, these bursaries.
Information is out there.
It's out there. It's there. I mean, it's on your cell phone, and you can just do that. So we must not relax and expect also to be fed. We must also be proactive and go out there and search for this information that will assist us, to better our lives.
Sure. Looking at the world and the times that we live in, I'm glad you touched on social media. You're a strategic communicator. We don't often get it right to communicate, especially use the tools and the platforms that we have. Where have we gone wrong as a society when it comes to communications?
Well, it's different. As a society or in corporate, maybe you need to be specific right
Just
there.
as a society in general.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we touch on corporate already, people feel like, okay, I don't belong in that group. But if we speak about social media, it affects every one of us.
Yeah, of course. I think my main concern with social media, it's how it has become so negative. The bullying that goes on social media. It's so demeaning, it's so discouraging, to a point where people are even committing suicide.
Yeah.
over social media. We've seen it on reports and television, print, where a learner has been, bullied at school and ended up committing suicide. I think that's the negative side of it. But also,
but would you say on that, challenging what you're saying, would
Yeah.
you then say that maybe those people are weak because everyone gets talked about, and if you don't want to, you want people to get into your business, then don't put it out there. And in case it does get out there, how do you then take yourself out of those situations, protect yourself? Because not everyone will fall into the trap of saying, okay, they said bad things about me and I'm just going to kill myself.
But also, the thing is, as human beings, we are different. We are wired differently, and our strengths and weaknesses are also different. What you can say something negative to me, and it will just hit and bounce back. You know, but to someone else, because you don't know what they're dealing with on a daily, the struggles that they're dealing with, it might affect them badly. But also, there are people who are not on social media, but they are dragged on social media or to social media, and end up losing their lives because of societal expectations, you can say that, the pressure, the fake life that's on social media as well, that people portray something that they're not. It's such a facade also. But that's the good side of social media. And that's where I come in corporate. I mean, we are able to speak to millions across the world through social media. We are able to run campaigns and touch lives through social media. We are able to impart knowledge, educate through social media. So there's the good and there's the bad. And it's important also for young people to learn about the disadvantages and the advantages of social media,
Social media
and also
etiquette,
check if you need to be there. If you don't need to be there, carry on with your life, But we're living in a digitally advanced society, you need to be on social media. I mean, our kids are learning in schools through social media. They have their iPads, their tablets. Government gives this to them because that's the direction that we are going. We're in the fourth industrial revolution, or even beyond that. So it's important that we equip ourselves with such skills.
Before I get into parenting, just to conclude this part, can we agree that social media is not the problem? It is us, the users, the consumers, the contributors towards social media, because I don't want us to drive a narrative where people think we're only focusing on the bad that is happening on social media, but the bad comes with the human element that is involved in that.
I mean, social media basically is empty without content, without us, without us posting and all of that. Like I said, and I'm going to highlight this, I studied journalism, and right now you see journalists going on to study further and enhancing their skills in social media, because that is the direction we're going, It's not all bad, But also, I think as consumers of social media, we need to
be more alert.
Not just alert, but also it's like surfing, choose what's good and what's bad for you, you know. And also, what are your reasons for being on social media? Is it to socialize? Is it to equip yourself with certain skills? Is it to build your brand, Because social media can also assist you in that. And how far can you go?
Yeah. I think also if you don't have a reason to be on social media as
don't
well.
Be.
Don't be, like you say. Sometimes it just happens accidentally that one finds themselves in that space. But when you do find yourself in that space, you need to be able to choose. Choose what you can consume, what's good for you and what's not good for you. Talking about what's good and what's not good, you spoke about parenting and the fact that our kids are also exposed to a lot of information and education out there. Since we're speaking about education, how does one surf what's good quality education and what's not?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. What's good quality education? I think, I'm going to speak about the Tshwane University of Technology.
Yes.
That is an institution that is there, registered with courses that are high quality, I think when prospective students, for example, search for institutions of higher learning where they need to go and stuff like that, it's important that even with colleges that you consult the Department of Higher Education and Training just to make sure that the courses there are accredited, very important because we've had situations where students study for more than 3 years.
Yes.
You know, and it's been in papers, we've read about it, where, you know, you lost a lot of money, a lot of time.
You
know?
still have the qualification, but it's not taking you anywhere because it's not recognized.
Exactly. So it's important that you consult and you don't get these pamphlets on the road and you go to and you jump all this, you know, things, these boxes that you need to tick.
Yeah.
You know, very important that you check it out, you review, you go on social media as well and find out reviews about that institution of higher learning. But obviously, none of that you'll get at the Tshwane University of Technology.
Sure. People do a lot of things out of desperation. I think what you're saying now is very important, no matter how desperate you are to get into the higher education sector or space and study. You still have a responsibility to find more information and verify information. I think it's very, very key. But moving to the information now and talking to education, the big question is, why education, Phaphama? You could be doing other things. I mean, you could be elsewhere doing fun stuff, which people think are fun. But you're involved in you're working for a higher education institution of higher institution of education.
Yes.
But more than that, you're a PhD candidate. You've been studying all your time, and you invested so much in empowering other people about education and telling them about resources and information that's out there. Why?
Well, education for me has changed my life altogether. It has enabled me to also take my siblings to school, support my family.
Sorry, was it black tax?
Well,
okay.
Black tax is also good, depending, you know, I mean, you cannot say you're successful and your sibling is not going to school, is going to bed hungry.
I think we need a show just on black tax.
There's just no way, you know. And I mean, you for example, I feel that you are blessed to bless other people. That's how it works, you know. And obviously, there's labels and all of that. But education for me, coming back to that, education for me changed my life, and I don't think it will ever be the same. You know, I always have something to fall back on.
Yes.
It has given me a step ahead, like I said, you know, amongst my peers. You know, I go into an interview.
You have a voice.
I have a voice, but a voice that is confident, you know, because I'm equipped with skills.
Yes.
And I have the papers to prove that, you know. You'd find people saying that, no, there's no need to go study further and all of that. But in the lives that we're living, things are always evolving. You know, we have revolutions coming, you know, fourth, fifth, and all of that. And you need to be ready. You need to be ready as a young person, you know, not just equipped with experience only. You need to be ready with the qualification, with the knowledge. More importantly, you don't just go to school to get the qualification only. You equipping yourself with knowledge that will make things better for you in the corporate world, in the business world, wherever you go.
Someone might say on that very same notion, we live in a society where there's different careers emerging and one doesn't really need to go to school, like you are saying, to get a certain qualification because you could just be talented and your talent gets you everywhere. And that goes with people defining education and equating it to success as being having so much money. How do you draw the line between what education gives you and what is defined as success?
I think success, how we define success is personal. That's what I've learned and that's what I know for sure.
Yes.
What success is to you is necessarily not what success is to me. To me, success might be seeing my siblings going to school, being empowered, you know, finding their way in this life and not struggling like I did. Success to me might be putting a roof over my parents' head.
Yes.
Success to me might also mean that my neighbor's child does not go to bed hungry. You know? It depends how we define success. But also, success to me might mean that I am content. I am content mentally, emotionally and
Irrespective
otherwise.
of what material,
Yes, you know,
things you have.
yes, and the people around me are also content and happy, and because also I think I need to clarify that money cannot buy you happiness. That is not it.
Sure, give it to me and
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah, it can make things easier,
Yes, yeah.
but it cannot buy the happiness within you. Trust me, because you find a whole lot of moneyed people with issues, just like you and I.
Yeah, living in
And
misery.
another old man, I'm just going to be quick, really. An old man told me a tale about his friend who was on his dying bed with millions in the bank. Millions, cars parked, houses across the world, you know. But the one thing that he needed on that dying bed, the one thing that he needed was time with his family. Look, not even money can buy him the health when you've reached that stage.
Yes.
So, I mean, that dawned on me, and I realized that money is not everything, you know. But where I am right now, I'm doing my PhD, right? I need to get to that actualization stage where I've ticked all the boxes of everything that I've planned about my life. And it's not in comparison to the next person or how society defines success.
Yes.
This is me. It's my journey. It's what I think it's important to me.
Sure.
Education is important to me, and I can attest to the changes that it has brought to my life and that of my family and my loved ones, my community at that, because it's not just myself benefiting from that knowledge. My family, my community, and anyone that I come across, you know.
That's very key and powerful. I think, like you said, time.
Yeah.
It's one common resource that we all have equally, but we don't use it equally. Hence, some will have it running after, and others will say, I need more of it. More than anything, with the time that you have right here on earth, how would you like Phaphama to be remembered one day should you leave this earth? What are some of the key things you say, maybe if you look back and if you're able to see and say, you know what, this is what I left, and this is the legacy that I wanted people to be left behind with?
I would definitely be remembered for being a go-getter and doing anything and everything in my power. I left no stone unturned to achieve everything that I said I was going to achieve, you know, in my life. I never gave up. I had the zeal, and the time that was given to me, I used it accordingly. Because it's important. It's important. We're given the same hours, like you said, on a daily. We're given the same hours. But what you do with those hours, you know, is what's important, you know? So I want to be remembered as a young woman, not a young by then, probably. I want to be remembered as that woman who was a trailblazer, who made things happen for her life, you know, and she achieved everything that she wanted. Yeah. And probably that also, Jenso, will inspire others, other young women, that it's possible. It's possible. You can do it on your own.
Sure.
It's possible, definitely. You
Indeed,
know?
It can be anything. We wish you all the best
Thank
going
you.
forward
Thank you.
with your studies and your life in general. This has been another great edition of TED. If you missed any of our shows, do make sure that you binge watch them on our YouTube channel, DBE TV. Indeed, success is defined differently by different people. How do you define your own success? And more than anything else, what is education to you? What does it mean? And what are you willing to contribute in the society? As you've heard from Phaphama, it's not just about us. It is about the community that we live in. It is about the world and the society that we are able to impact with what we have and the time that we have right here on earth. Make every time count, because time and tide waits for no man. Up until next time, goodbye. Well, we've come to the end of the show. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to interact and engage with us, go through our socials. As we all see today, education is beyond just a tool, but it is an anchorage of freedom for one to be exposed to knowledge and information. Until next time, from me and the rest of our team, goodbye.